Hi, in this tutorial, we're going to go over Storyboard That, which is an online digital storyboard making tool. And if your organization uses Storyboard That, and then you will have your own login information for that. Our organization does have Storyboard That for licenses, and all our teachers and our students log into Storyboard That using their Google accounts. So that's what I'm going to be going through today. So the first thing is we're going to go ahead and go into login.storyboard.that, and that'll take us directly to the login page. And we are going to be logging in using the Google button since we're using our Google accounts. So since I'm already signed into my Google Chrome, it's just going to verify for me to choose which account that I need, and I choose my school account. And that's going to take me directly into my Storyboard That dashboard, right? And this is the teacher view of what the Storyboard That dashboard would look like. You have the options then of being able to set up your classes for your students, to create your assignments, and also to create your own storyboards. So the first thing we're going to go through is setting up your classes. Because we're using Google accounts, we're going to set up our classes, rostering them through Google Classroom, which makes it a lot easier than having to manually import your students if you weren't using the Google account feature. So I'm going to go ahead and the first time is probably going to ask you that everything is following all of the COPA and FERPA student privacy rights, which it all is as we're using our Google accounts. And we're going to start rostering our classes using Google Classroom. You also have the option of, you weren't using Google Classroom, you can roster your classes then manually to put in your classes, and then you'd have to import your students through a CSV file or manually. But the ease with using Google Classroom is that it's going to go ahead and roster all of your students depending on your classes. So once again, it's going to verify your account, and it's going to ask you to allow Storyboard That to access that. Once you do that, it's going to bring up a menu, and it's going to list all of your classes that you have in Google Classroom. And you can select whichever classes it is that you want to be able to use Storyboard That. I'm going to go ahead and just use my test class for this. And once I choose all the classes I want, I'll click on Roster Classes. And it's going to now import all of my classes. And you'll see success. You have one of your classes imported into your Storyboard That account. Once that's done, from here on out, when students need to log into Storyboard That, they're going to do the same thing that we just did. They're going to go to login.storyboardthat.com, and they're going to use the Google button to sign in with their Google accounts, and they're going to already be then directly rostered into their classes. It's really important that you already have your classes rostered, because if students log into Storyboard using their Google accounts and they haven't already been rostered to a class, it's going to create a rogue account for that student, and they're not going to be fitting into any of the classes. They'll still be able to do their work, but from organization wise, they're not going to have their name assigned to their assignments. It's going to populate a random number, and it just makes things a lot more confusing. So it's really important that before students start using Storyboard That you have your classes already rostered within the application itself. So once my classes have been rostered, if I go back to my dashboard, right now my classes are set, and I'll be able to manage my classes here. If I ever want to edit my class or delete a class, I can do that through my Manage Classes Setup button. I don't need to invite students because of the fact, since they're using the single sign-on, they can just go ahead and log into Storyboard That with their Google accounts, and since we've already rostered them in, they're already in the classes that they need to do so. So let's go through now creating an assignment. So let's click on Create My First Assignment, since we still don't have one in our dashboard, and it's a really easy step-by-step process to do this. The first thing you're going to do is to be able then to put an assignment title. So we'll just go ahead and write this as a test assignment and move on to next. Then you can go ahead and write in instructions for your test assignment, whatever it is that you want your students to be able to do, their objectives, their due dates. It already has some kind of pre-filled instructions, a default within it. So you can either choose to keep those or edit those or do whatever you'd like. I'm just going to keep these as they are right now, just for the sake of our process here. And once I'm done with filling in my directions for my assignment, I can go ahead and click the next button. The next option you have is to select a template. If I've created some kind of template for my assignment that I want my students to use that template, then this is where I'd be selecting it right now. I don't have any templates right now for my students to use. This is not something that you have to do. This is an optional part of the creation process of the assignment. So you can skip this process, and I'm going to skip it right now because I'm not going to worry about adding a template, but you are able to create your storyboards and save them as templates, and you can then choose them for assignments if you need to. So I'm going to skip that. And then it's time for me to assign it to my classes. I could assign it to all of my classes or select classes. I just have to check whatever class I want to assign my assignment to, and then click on done. And now our assignment is done. So if I go back to my dashboard, now I'll see that my assignments start to be listed here. As I start to create new ones, they'll start to list down this area. And then I'll go to view and manage my assignments to be able to then go in. And once my students start completing assignments and submitting them, then they can go ahead, and then I'll be able to review them by going to manage assignments and just clicking on the assignment, and I'll be able to see all of my students' work. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the storyboard process actually looks like. So I'm going to click on create a storyboard to go through all of the different tools within Storyboard That. It's really easy to use. One thing to remember with Storyboard That, which sometimes is really easy to forget, especially if we're a Google school and everything that we're using are Google tools, Storyboard That does need to be saved. So it's really important that we save Storyboard That. Every time we're using our storyboard and working on it, and remind students that they have to save their work periodically, because your storyboard does need to be saved or they're going to lose their work. So basically, when you create your storyboard, it's going to look like this. Your basic storyboard are these 3 cells. If I ever want to change the layout of my storyboard, my menu is down in the bottom, and I just click on storyboard layout, and that allows me to change my cell layout, which you'll see I can choose from not only just having the box, but I also have the option of adding titles, of adding descriptions, or having both. So depending on what I want, I can also choose different types of storyboards that are already pre-done. So I can use a traditional storyboard where you just add the boxes. It can look like a movie reel. We can make them poster size. I have different types of charts or timelines. So depending on what you want your students to complete, they can select from these different types of layouts. I'm just going to go ahead and go with the basic layout here of title and description, just so we can go through all of the different options. Just to be able to write in your storyboard when it's time to edit it, like the title and description part, if you just go click on it, it's going to open up and you will be able to type directly into the storyboard cell. You're also able to choose different colors. You're able to choose different font and font sizes, as well as alignments, bolding. So this will be your text tool. Every time you click on a box to write, that text tool will be able to come out where you can choose whatever it is that you need. If I need to add cells to my storyboard, I can also do that. So if I want to have a 4 or 5 or 6 board story board cell, I can do so. So I just have to go ahead and click however many I want, and that'll go ahead and update the storyboard. You're able to move cells back around your storyboard if you need to. You're able to copy cells from one to the next. If you want to keep the same background from one cell to the next, you're able to do that. In your advanced tool settings, you are able to customize your cell size to add grid lines to your storyboard if you want to make it easier to be able to design. You can change your font and the way that your titles and descriptions appear on your storyboard. You're able to do that. And you're also able to clear everything on your storyboard. If you want to start from scratch, you're able to do that. And like it says, there is no undo when you clear everything out. If you want to be able just to remove one thing, then my suggestion is to use the undo and redo buttons for small things. But if you want to chuck everything and just start it from the beginning, then you can use that clear cell option. And then, of course, our very important save tool, which we need to remember to save periodically. Up across the top of our storyboard, we see all of the different options that we have to include in our storyboard. So it starts first with scenes, this is our background setting for our storyboard, and it has different types of background settings depending on what you want, whether you're looking at town or school. It also has historical settings. So if you are working on something for social studies or history class, you are able to include historical settings as well. And all you have to do is once you've chosen a setting, you can click on it and just drag it directly into the storyboard, and it's going to then fill in the storyboard cell automatically. You'll see that this menu has opened up and it allows you to be able to customize your setting as well. If I want to make it a night scene, if I want to change the certain colors of the buildings or the trim, I'm able to do that. I can rotate my setting from one to the next. You're able to crop your setting if you need to. You're able to layer it. So if I bring in another setting and I want to be able to layer my settings, I can do that as well to change the order of my setting options. I'm able to remove colors and be able to change the way the setting looks. If I want it to look like a pencil outline, I'm able to do that using the filters. So it's really customizable to whatever it is that you need. I can also edit the scene further by putting in snow, rain. So whatever it is that I want to do, you can pretty much do it within these menu options. Will let you customize your background setting to make it as unique and as much as you need it for what you need for your storyboard to do. So once we've chosen our setting, you can move on to the next thing, which could be characters. You also have textables, which means if I want to add then speech bubbles to my storyboard, I can. Just shapes. There are different types of infographics. If I'm making some kind of infographic storyboard, I can do that. So it's really very versatile in what I can add in here. If I was creating some kind of worksheet using my storyboard, I also have that ability to create different types of graphic organizers that I want to include. And I can also upload my own images from my computer. I can upload images from my computer that I want to include in my storyboard. So I'm going to go back to the characters option just because there's also a lot of different customizable options with characters. So if I choose a character, and I'm just going to go ahead and just select one and just drag one in here. Just like our background, whenever we want anything, just click and drag, and I can, clicking on it, I can make it as large or as small as I need it. One thing to always remember, we want to remind our students to make sure that we're always resizing everything with their corners, because that's going to keep everything proportional. If they start to resize by just using the sides and the top, it's going to then stretch your image instead of actually resizing your image. So that's just a little quick tip to remember, and just remind our students as well when they're using this to always be resizing in the corner to keep everything proportional. So you see, once again, as well as your characters, you're also able to edit your characters and change their hair, their skin, their eyes, and also their clothing colors to whatever it is that you want to do. You're able to rotate it and edit it as well. And they also have a way for you to edit their poses. So I can change the tilt of their head. I can change the expressions on their face. You can move their arms. You're able to move their legs. They also have what's known as insta poses. So if you want your character just to look angry, I can just click on that and it's automatically going to put the insta pose of angry looking character. I can also position my character if I want them to have a profile view. I can give them a side view in my cell, or I can give them back view, depending on what it is. So within Storyboard, that it just makes it a lot easier, and it's really easy to be able to customize your story to whatever it is that you need. And once you're done with that, you'll just click on the blue button in the bottom to save your pose, and you have your character ready to be able to do whatever it is that you need to do. So let's say we're done with our storyboard and we're done and ready to submit it. So if we click on save, the first time you save, since we haven't saved our storyboard yet, the first time you save, it's going to ask you for a title and a description. That's optional for your assignment. As a student, because I'm not logged in for student, I just created a storyboard. As a student, you would already have your assignment chosen here. So if I logged in as a student, I would already see whatever assignment I'm working on within my storyboard. So this would already be filled out for me as a student. So let's go back to that test assignment that I created, and let's pretend I'm creating an assignment for that assignment. And this is going to be my test storyboard. That's my title. I'm going to add a description for now, but if you wanted to add some kind of description or summary, they can do that, and then they'll save their storyboard. So once your storyboard has been saved, the first time it's now saved in your assignment, in the assignment that it belongs to. If I wanted to go back, I see my finished storyboard here. If I scroll down, I'll see at the bottom I have options, and I can either edit to go back and keep working on it, or I am ready to be able to do anything else that I can with my storyboard. I can always copy my storyboard into another storyboard and work on something else. It can be printed out. You have the ability of downloading your storyboard in different formats. If I wanted to download each of my cells as an image, they can do that, and they'll be downloaded in a zip file to be able to do that. This is great if you want to have these images to be able to paste onto something else, whether it's a presentation or some other work that they're doing. You can go ahead and do that. It can download the whole storyboard as one huge image, and it's one high-res image that it can view online. It can be converted into an animated GIF as well. It can be downloaded as a PDF, and it can also be downloaded as a PowerPoint that can be imported into Google Slides. And this already has your storyboard converted into presentation mode, that if you want them to work something else within a presentation in addition to the storyboard they just created, they can do that. So the download option has a lot of different features that you can use to be able to work with your storyboard. The slideshow feature automatically takes your storyboard and makes it a slideshow. So this is great if you want your students to be able to explain their storyboard and create a screencast like I'm doing now. I can go ahead and have this out with my storyboard as a presentation feature here, the slideshow. And as a student, I could then be talking about each slide and explaining what's happening in my storyboard from one slide to the next. So that's also another option you can do, just to, as an extension, just to go further with your storyboard. What else can you do with it? Well, once you have a storyboard, there's a lot of different options you have to be able to use those storyboards further. The advanced options will let you convert your storyboard to a template. So as from a teacher, my standpoint, if I wanted to take a storyboard that I was working on and I wanted to take it and make it a template, then I would use the advanced option to convert it to a template. And then this time when I go in to create my assignment and I have that option to include a template, now I have that storyboard that I've converted that's going to appear as one of my options to select if I want to. Another great feature about the storyboard now is that you have the view save history. So that actually lets you see the different versions of your storyboard. It's like a version history from the Google Apps here. You can see the different versions of your storyboard. Since we've only saved it once, this is the only version that I have. But if I had previous saved versions, I'll see all of the other older revisioned versions, and I can go back and edit either the version that I've just saved, or I do have the option to go back and edit the revised version instead, the one before I saved. So if I don't want to include what I just did to my storyboard, I can always go back to an older version. I can also copy an older version if I wanted to. So that's one of the things that I can do with the view the save history with the advanced options. And then finally, the storyboard privacy. Automatically, when students work on storyboard that within their classes, it is selected as very private, meaning that the only people who can view the storyboard would be you and your student. That's it. The shared with class option, if we want to be able to actually have our storyboards viewable to the rest of the classes for some kind of peer-to-peer feedback or any kind of group work, then you would then select the shared with the class assignment. And that now makes it viewable to all of the other students within the class. And then finally, you have the public option, which then, excuse me, allows you to be able to view your storyboard publicly out on the web. Now, this means that anyone can see the storyboard and the author's name. So this is something like if we didn't have any kind of private information within your storyboard, you can make it public if there's no known public information within the storyboard within there. But these are the ways that you can go ahead and select your privacy settings as well. And then finally, the deleting the storyboard. This would delete the storyboard completely. So these are your different options once you've saved the storyboard. So if I click on edit, once again, I want to go back and keep working on it. I can then go back into my storyboard, keep working on it, continue doing whatever it is that I need to do. If I go ahead and put something else that's ready, I click on save. Now, when I click on save, every time that you click on save, once you've already saved the first time, it's going to ask you whether you want to save and continue, so you can save and continue working, or save and exit. Or if you want to save the copy of this storyboard as a particular new copy. So I'm going to go ahead and save and exit from here. And that basically are the different features within using the storyboard tools. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard. Once I go back to the dashboard, I will see that when I scroll down to my storyboards, that storyboard that I just created appears there that I can always use and go back to. So basically, this is what storyboard that looks like. And it's really kind of easy to use for students. It's really intuitive to use to creating the storyboards, but it's really powerful for them to be able to create and tell their stories of whatever it is that you would like them to do. It's just fitting for any type of subject. If I want to view and manage my assignments, this is where I would go in, and you'll see that this is where I can then be able to view and grade or look at my students' work. And that's where they're going to appear from here on out. Every time students turn in work, it's going to automatically go into whatever assignment it is that they saved it to. So I hope this kind of helps you, get you set up a little bit with Storyboard that, and check out my other tutorial videos for any other help. Thank you.